Today in this video, I want to talk about iPad Pros, the M4 generation of the iPads. I am a user of an iPad, and today in this video, I want to talk about that what are my thoughts on the very same. And yes, this is not a negative video, and this is not to encourage people to buy the MacBooks or something, because I just want to talk about some genuine use cases of these new iPads and why these iPads are really better, and should I be upgrading to these M4 powered iPads that are the latest one. Now my use case of these iPads may be different than a lot of people who are using these iPads for. When I originally purchased this M1 powered the iPad Pro 11 inches, the only use case was, I think there were two use cases. The number one was that I wanted to design the phone cases, and I thought that this one over here with this Apple Pencil would be a great tool for me to use and draw something better. And yes, I did draw some designs, I will show you in this video, but I originally never took up that business of designing phone cases and selling them in the market. So yes, it was a leftover plan, but I did try to do at one point of time as well. And the second thing was that I wanted to see that is there a possibility that you can code on this latest iPads, because I was simultaneously learning to code at that point of time as well. And yes, if you are curious, you can code on this one, but yes, it is a very tricky situation. But yes, this is something that is possible on the iPad. So how are these better in this day and time, and what would be something that would be different that I wanted to switch to this M4 iPads? When I tried to put myself into the shoes of the consumer, the only two things that I could see initially when thinking to upgrade from M1 to M4 iPad, there were only two really big upgrades. The number one was the Apple Pencil Pro, that is the latest and the upgraded one with the features like barrel roll and also squeeze functionality and the upgraded haptics on that Apple Pencil Pro. And the second thing was the updated Magic Keyboard on this new latest iPads. And yes, this is something that is just hardware related, because yes, this new iPad means that the new hardware functionalities are enabled that is very specific to this M4 iPads, but there is really more to it. Now just stop thinking about the hardware additions for a moment, and we can clearly see the direction that Apple is trying to go over here with introduction to features like the full version of the Final Cut Pro on the latest iPads. And yes, you can do the very same on this M1 as well, but Apple now has got the Final Cut 2 version as well, and it is really just about some nitty-gritty features like that you are able to use these latest iPads and be able to connect 4 cameras simultaneously and do editing on the go with the multi-camera functionality that you have got on this latest iPads. And yes, this is one of the most exciting moments for the people who are into content creation, because you know that it is a big mess to have all those wiring around, and it is very difficult to just move around the setup. And if you can just do the very same thing wirelessly on this latest iPads, I think it is a go and it is a win-win for me. Now I would see in the future that if I can do the very same. So yes, this is something that I'm really excited about, these all new iPads, the M4 powered ones over here. Now this means that these M4 chips are a bit more powerful, and this is something that I want to talk as well. The fact that the M4 chips are powerful and they score about 3700 in single core CPU benchmark and around 14500 in multi-core benchmark scores, these are just the synthetic benchmarks, and really I do not think so that you would feel a lot more difference in the real day-to-day tasks on these new iPads versus the older ones. And even the 9th generation or the 10th generation iPad that are the older ones, they are also one of the more capable devices, and you would not feel any difference between the M1s and the M4s over here. So yes, this is something that I just wanted to point out, but these are just the benchmarks, and they have got a lot of improvements in the terms of the AI capabilities and a lot of new features that would be enabled when the iPad OS 18 would be launched. And already there is so much so in the terms of the latest features on these new iPads. Now also, if you think just harder what these M4 chips enabled on this latest iPads, there is a lot on these new iPads over here. The first thing is the power to lay two LED panels on top of each other to give you about 1000 nits of peak brightness. These latest iPads are OLED powered versus the mini LEDs or the LED screens on the older iPads. That is also one great thing about this Ultra Retina XDR display that Apple calls it like that on the latest iPad, the M4 generation ones. So these M4 power chips enable some other things on these iPads, and that is the ability to get even thinner. That is, I think, 5.1 millimeter of thinness on, or I would say thickness on the iPad Pro 13 inches, and I think it is 5.3 or 5.6 something on the 11 inches of these M4 powered iPads over here. Also, it enables the capability of using even a smaller battery cell on these new iPads, but give you the more efficient battery life on these iPads over here. And because of all the AI capabilities, you enable more features on the other softwares like the Logic Pro for more efficiency, but not with again a massive difference. But yes, the all new difference is in the terms of the AI, and I think that the same AI features would be carried over to the previous generation. Not same, I would say, but some limited capabilities would be shared to the older generation of the iPads as well. Now, apart from that, I think that this is just a regular iPad, a smaller upgrade on the latest generation, the M4 ones. And yes, it does enable a quite few new features for the creators, but for a regular user, it cannot replace a MacBook because yes, you do not have Mac OS. Instead, it is an iPad OS, and yes, Apple would never do so. They would never bring the Mac OS on the iPads and call it a day. You need to keep in mind again that this device is specifically for people who loves to draw, people who loves to edit, and finally for people who cannot purchase the very expensive MacBook to do the very same things that can be enabled by these iPads. Just like again the multi-cam functionality that we can be achieving on these iPads over here for just around $1,000. I think it is a very cheap alternative than buying a fully fledged MacBook, that is the M4 MacBook or the M3 Pro MacBooks that we have in the market that may cost you like 3,000 US dollars or something. So yes, this is a great cheaper alternative for someone who just did not want to spend a lot of money and want to carry something that is thin and light. They can draw on it, they can edit videos on it, and I would say it is a complete device for the people who are into the content creation thing. This one over here just makes a lot of sense over here for these kind of people. Just buy $1,000 iPad Pro, the M4 one, I think the entry level 11 inches, and then you can get a complete set of, I would say, a Bluetooth keyboard and mouse, and not the Magic Keyboard, for just around $50 on Amazon, and that would make a complete setup. And by the way, did you know that this new iPad Pro, the M4 generation, does not have two cameras on the back just like this M1 over here? If you knew that, do let me know. But yes, overall I think this is a great solid device for the people who are into content creation, and this year I would say it is a great upgrade for everyone. That was all about this video. My name is Anshul. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.